from Wakefield also got a grade A dangerous contact, no match penalty notice. Oliver Wilson, he'll be free to play next week. He got a grade A dangerous contact, no match penalty notice for him. He must have been a good boy up to now. But Matt English got a grade B dangerous contact, 1 match penalty notice for him. I think, was this the one early doors that looked like a crusher? And I'm a little bit surprised with a hold up in play and stuff around it that he wasn't put in the sin bin for that incident. But he wasn't. But he's been picked up properly by the match review panel and given a 1 match ban. He will miss the semi-final.
Yeah, I'm assuming that is that incident. I think a grade B was about right. I think it was unfortunate positioning.
Yeah,
I think
clumsy
rather than anything else.
Malicious
exactly.
or careless rather than reckless, but a little bit worse than some of the ones you might see where it's very quick, and it wasn't a quick thing. It could have been more, could have been done certainly.
Yeah, which is why he's not playing next week.
Yep. Moving on to Catalans versus Castleford. Castleford went into this in some sort of form, but Catalans said nah. They were 22-6 up at half time and won 44-12. God, that's some symmetry there then. 6,487 people were there. I think there's 1,000 or so people that don't like Catalans games being on Friday nights at the moment. Liam Moore was the referee. In terms of the team stats, Catalans made 642 metres more and 7 breaks to 1 with 8 tries to 2. They had fewer errors, fewer penalties and a better team tackle success rate. Also positives on the numbers for Catalans, whereas Cas went under 800 metres, so that's pretty wank.
It certainly is. And for Catalan, Tom Davis with 153 metres, Atamog with a try and 130 metres, Mathieu Laguerre 3 tries, 117 metres, Tyrone May with a try, 4 try assists, 101 metres and 2 clean breaks. For Cass, a couple of bright spots. George Lawler with 43 tackles, 11 of which were for marker, and Mahe Fanua had 1 try assist and 120 metres, most of which were probably on that one interception, I would guess.
The try assist, yeah.
Yeah.
Alan Walker got in with the Only Fan review on this one. He said, another Friday night with 3 other games, ? At least it was the telly game and we sold some pools, but only in France. Deja vu again. Why are there 4 matches on Friday nights? Right, we'll pause and answer that as best we can. In terms of, I don't have a proper answer, but Leeds traditionally play their home games on Friday nights, as do St Helens, as do Wigan. So I know Wigan were away this week, but that was a telly pick. So I think part of it is teams over a 20-year period have been using Friday nights as their home game, and that's their prerogative. Catalans is the odd one out here because they've started being televised in their home markets on a Friday night. I don't know if that's a broadcasting thing in France, and that's a choice that they've made, and the broadcaster would rather have that, and that's a concession that Catalans have had to make to have it broadcast on TV. That's maybe more for Alan to look into and answer than us, because I think it's the Catalans change is the strange one for me.
Yeah, because, I mean, from our perspective, they've been a Saturday afternoon team, haven't they?
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if that was a broadcaster decision then as well. But yeah, it's a change, isn't it? And, you know, fan bases do get annoyed by changing kickoff schedules, and no one can seem to agree on it. No matter what you propose, somebody's unhappy with it. So yeah.
Yeah, and he goes on to say, top games from Busquet, in brackets El Mestre, I think that means the teacher, Captain Garcia, T. May, an extra 5'8" and better than pace, Fuad, solid as ever, a hat-trick for Is It I, and King Arthur was majestic as always. For them, Moore was their best, but one man cannot win a match on his own. Fans are never happy, are they?
Nope.
It's always the ref's fault, even if you win.
Yeah. Even if you systematically decimate your opposition, which is exactly what Catalan did in this one.
Yeah, when Cass weren't dismantling themselves, because there was some poor defence from Cass on the highlights, wasn't there? The one that stood out for me in particular was the May, and I've written it in inverted commas, break for the Pearce try, because that was just an example of defenders not working together, not talking to each other. And it wasn't like it came late in the game when everyone was fatigued and the game was over. It was the second try. So
Yeah, and was this Busquets' first game back, or has he made a return before?
it was his
now?
first game back. He was in the squad last week but wasn't selected, and then was this week.
But obviously, getting the first try, kind of obviously not the Cass are not going to want to look back at that one either, are they?
No. He just fought harder than they did to get the ball down.
Yeah.
I think there was a couple of ones like that, wasn't the Tyrone May's own try actually was very similar.
Yeah. Cass didn't. They just didn't adjust to what kind of, well, I'd say what Catalan were throwing at them, what Tyrone May was throwing at them, frankly. Obviously hugely impressive to get 4 try assists. But yeah, Cass seemed largely absent in this one, to be brutally honest with you.
Yeah, and I was trying to look
seen.
for things that were good to say about the performances. Do you know what, just from the highlights, obviously we haven't been able to watch the whole game like Alan has, so we'll take on board what he said about some of the performances. But the only try that I thought I was impressed by, particularly because I wasn't thinking, God, it's just shit defence or just whatever, a mistake or whatever, was the Matt Whitley try, because I thought he ran a really good line and the setup was good, where Whitley and Laguerre went close together and then kind of it made it hard to read who was going to get the ball. I think it was May who put the pass, it might have been Pearce actually. But then Whitley hit it so hard at great speed and got through. I thought that was really nice play. And obviously, Jason Gary showed his pace again, but this time not on his first touch, and this time in vain as well. That's about it I got.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't score in the first minute, and therefore Cass lost. So it's all Gary's fault. But yeah, no, it was. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to say positive, as you say, for Cass, which is disappointing considering how they've been going.
But isn't this where Cass are at? They come up against one of the top sides, and we have, after every team's played each other once now, we have a picture of the league that we can sort of say there is a top 3, and then there are sort of 3 to 5 other sides that are decent but can beat each other on their day. And when a team like that, like Cass, comes up against a top 3 side, you'd expect them to lose. And I know they did the week before, but that wasn't the top 3 St Helens side, was it? You'd expect them to lose this game, and they did. Maybe they expected themselves to lose this game. I don't know, but this is where Castleford are, and this is kind of where our league season's shaped out to be.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. They were second best in this one, and deservedly so.
Let's move on to a game that there's maybe even less to talk about. We don't know, but not a lot on the scoreboard to talk about. Leeds versus Hull KR.
I'm going to say, talk about a team not turning up.
Oh, actually, we didn't mention Josh Drinkwater. We talked about him getting injured last week, but it turns out in that game against Hull FC, he's ruptured a tendon in his foot, and they're expecting him to miss up to 8 weeks with that injury. So that's a shame. But if Tyrone May plays like he did in this game every week, then it's not going to be an issue.
If they can play Cass again, yeah, but there you go.
Yeah, Leeds, it was 6-0 at half-time against Hull KR. It was 12-0 at full-time, so again, some symmetry there. 13,333. James Child was the referee. In terms of the team stats, Hull KR actually made more metres, 183 more, had a slightly better average gain, and had a better tackle success rate than Leeds, but an extra error by Rovers, plus conceding 10 penalties to 4, were big on the numbers in leading to this loss. Leeds did make more breaks, helping them to score all the points, along with the kickable penalties too. Maybe if we had more than Tom getting in touch from a Hull KR side, we might have heard more about the penalty count, but we have more Hull FC fans who get in touch, so we hear about their adverse penalty counts, not Hull KR's.
For Leeds, Cam Smith with 40 tackles and 112 metres, Reece Martin with 159 metres, Morgan Gannon with a try, 47 tackles, 15 which were for marker, and Ashland Handley with 147 metres. For Hull KR, Ben Crooks with 6 tackle busts, 264 metres and 2 clean breaks, Ethan Ryan with 181 metres, Matt Parcell, 52 tackles, 10 of which were for marker, 8 tackle busts and 110 metres. And Dean Hadley had 42 tackles, 11 which were for marker and no misses.
Yeah, Cameron Smith is going both ways pretty much every week. He's standing out, I think, him and Reece Martin in this Leeds side so far. Dr. Bob Phillips said, now the juggernaut of Rhinos is charging again. There's no stopping us. In a few weeks, we'll have the Hubcap and the grand final all wrapped up, or we will just about avoid relegation.
Yes, the much needed uptick in form. Tom Andrews says, less said about that, the better. Clearly saving ourselves for the big one next week. Well, in my notes, I've got to say, I said you might as well have sent the kids to play in this match, as far as KR were concerned, because it didn't really seem to help them, did it?
No, well, obviously I've not seen much of the game. I've not been inspired by what I've read about the game or the bits I saw on Twitter when I was looking at half time of the Wigan game, and when I got home after that game, nothing's really said that there was anything else to kind of say either. The Leeds tries came off Rovers' errors, and Rovers' no tries came from Rovers' errors. And that's all I've written down in terms of analysis of the game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that we managed to find so many Hull KR players with such positive stats. Because obviously, much like yourself, obviously I've just seen the highlights, and well, there weren't any highlights from KR's point of view, but players did do good things. I mean, Ben Crooks, there's some bloody impressive figures, but for whatever reason,
that line of the week, without a doubt.
For whatever reason, it just didn't add up for them, did it? And Leeds got a much needed follow-up win.
We have to credit some sort of defensive resolve out of the Rhinos, even though clearly there were some last pass errors and that sort of stuff from Hull KR, plus some injuries from Hull KR. So if they were saving themselves for next week, then there's a problem with that, because they're going to be without Lachlan Coote and Sam Wood. Now, Lachlan Coote is the headline there, isn't he, for the Challenge Cup semi-final? So they both left the field last week. Coote, I think, got a HIA.
Yes.
It said in some of the write-ups, and Smith said that Wood got a knee injury. Saw him. The highlights showed him limping off, but not how it came about. But that's probably more significant to Hull KR than losing this match.
You'd think so, because obviously he's been growing into the role, hasn't he, at KR?
Yeah.
Sam Wood's been playing well as well last few weeks, actually. But yeah, it's a big disruption, isn't it? It's one of your pivots disappearing. So yeah, not great timing from KR's point of view.
Someone else who hasn't had great timing is Albert Vette. He's got a grade B high tackle, 2-match penalty notice for him. I don't know if he's appealed it or anything, actually. I'm not aware of that. But
it was pretty blatant from what I've seen. Yeah. So yeah, I think that would definitely class as a frivolous challenge.
So he's out as well. They've kind of been dealing with him being out quite a bit this year, to be honest, one thing and another. But so in terms of a run out, it seems like they'll have learnt a bit about what they need to fix up for next week, but it's come at a cost.
Yeah, I'd definitely be happier if I was in the Huddersfield camp for next week, but we'll see what happens.
A couple of Leeds suspensions out of the game. Young Morgan Gannon got a grade C over contrary behaviour, 2-match penalty notice for him. I think that's probably his first piece up in front of the disciplinary, isn't it? But Matt Pryor, he's not new to them. Grade B tripping, 2-match penalty notice for him, so obviously he's had couple of previously in the last 2 years for that to apply. The other big story out of Leeds was in the build-up to the game, wasn't it, really? They signed Zach Hardacre. We talked about that a lot last week. But his return to the Leeds side has been delayed after he suffered a suspected seizure